All right. We have one green bar here working, so it's working. All right. I'm on here live again. This is always the fun part. This is Clear Blue Radiance, and my name is Brother Francis E. Revels-Bey. I'm the host and the originator of this podcast, and I'm doing my podcast for Resident Essentials Esoteric School of Metaphysics on their Resident Essentials YouTube channel. This is an opportunity to share teachings with all of you that are metaphysical, spiritual, and mainly I cover a lot of different topics, 40 different topics if possible, but everything pertains to the uplifting of humanity uh, so that you could gain a higher awareness of yourself, a greater remembrance of yourself, and also higher consciousness, but not just higher consciousness, a release into the higher frequencies of your divinity. I enjoy helping people such as yourself gain greater clarity in your life and redefine your purpose or find out what your purpose is in this current life. Now, it's not just this current life stream itself because it's ongoing, but the whole idea is help you from moment to moment. And I've been in this as a spiritual counselor for over 40 plus years, and I teach a lot of different topics. Many of you are aware that I do a lot of things. Meditation is my first love, numerology is my second, dreams is my third, so and so forth. Today's topic is very interesting. Um, it's about meditation and it's about visualization. We are in a new era. We're in the era of the age of Aquarius. And this is that time where spiritual wisdom, spiritual understanding, greater and more infinite things can come and be poured into your life, as well as you pour back into life itself, where you can become grounded in spiritual and metaphysical teachings, where you can grow in that direction, where you can have a better and greater understanding, when you can have more self love. When we were in the era of Pisces, we were pushing for self love. Not everybody was able to maintain it. Why? Because there was addictions happening, lots of addictions going on. So people weren't able to cross that luminous light bridge, pick up their rock. And many people did pick up their rocks. They wore their gemstones, rings, bracelets, necklaces, toe rings, finger rings, headdress bands, put them on walking sticks, but still weren't able to cross that bridge and stay across the bridge, delving into a new reality for themselves. In the era of Pisces, there were discoveries of quantum leaping or jumping, as they call it, or timeline jumping. Try to find that part where you are and where you are more successful. We would call it your different soul aspects, living a better life. Some people learned it from a griot. That's an African term for storytellers. Told you great stories how to get in touch with a child like you through your heart and be able to begin to live that and share those teachings throughout your village, throughout your tribe, throughout your country, throughout your land. People are still struggling to get there. And we all have been struggling at different levels. But one of the things that have been truly significant have been prayer or meditation or both, along with affirmations and decrees. as well as affirmative prayers. Now, some people have a problem with prayer. I understand that. I've known a lot of people who, well, I don't want to take your class. You're talking about prayer. They think I'm talking about Christian prayer. I'm not. I'm not a master of the Bible, which is loaded with metaphysical principles and teachings. I'm not a master or someone who's studied the Quran or studied the I Ching long enough to master it. But I am familiar with myself, my path, my journey that I have gone on. I am familiar with receiving the Shakti pot. That's Shakti pot, like Shakti Pat. That's Shakipat. There she is. I got it here. Melanie Hall. Good morning, your time. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I knew I had to send it to you. I said, if I send it out there early enough, you'll see it. So, welcome aboard. And so, these teachings are important to be able to discover yourself along the way. And the key is the ability to feel your own sacredness, to feel your own sagacity, which is, the amount of wisdom that you have acquired. We're all sage like because as we travel through life, we are continuously and constantly seeking ways to uplift and upgrade our consciousness. And it's not just higher consciousness, it's the frequency where you can get in touch with your transcendental self, also known as your higher self. And to discover where that higher self is, the new book that I wrote, um, Radiant Heart, takes you through those steps. Good afternoon out there, Jackie, Fillmore, Antoine. Now I got two of my favorite people on here. I know the rest will join soon. So this is an opportunity for us to be able to pull forth out of ourselves our own divine nature. I always call DNA divine nature in action. We all have a divine nature. We have a divine truth that is continuous, that's infinite, that never dies out. We have this side of ourselves that brings us to a greater reality where we feel and know and understand that we can be better. Now, with all the news that we hear, there was some devastating news. Hello there, Linda. Devastating news out there with the Democratic National Convention. Something happened in a restaurant that was very, very sickening to hear about. Something being placed in people's foods. You could change your reality, and we could help change that reality when people are open and focused enough, where crap like that won't happen. But it starts with ourselves. When we raise our own vibration and keep it as high as we can, and we unite that high frequency in ourselves with other like minded high frequency people, you will see the visions in front of you, the dreams in front of you change and come out on a higher level of positiveness. You will see your own life shift. You will feel it shift internally, and you will begin to experience the shift quite often. So, today's topic: use meditation and visualization daily to create a new life of value. So, we have to find out what is valuable to us. To some people, thank God they have family members. Their parents are still around, or their grandparents are still around, aunts and uncles and other relatives, or their children. Some don't have their children around. Some adults' children have passed on before the adults got to be older. got to be true seniors. I have a lot of spiritual sons and daughters, actually more spiritual daughters than sons. The sons are hard to find, but the spiritual daughters, I have many. And they are always seeking a better way of being, a better way of living, a better way of becoming. They are always ahead of themselves, researching the lessons and the teachings from Louise Hay to Dr. Michael Beckwith to the late Reverend Ike, as well as the late Louise Hay. All they were all New Thought thinkers. And Reverend Ike he went from Christian evangelism out of being a Pentecostal minister to shifting into becoming a New Thought minister in his own way, and therefore shifting his life and made his life more valuable. And then he was able to impact other people who didn't know that they could make that shift for themselves as well. And his teachings are still feeding the world. There is Catherine Ponder and Florence Scovel Shinn. These are the people who come out of the late Ernest Holmes' teachings, which started the New Thought movement, so to speak. There were many other, um, I'll call them Christian metaphysical teachers. And all of them were like basically in California on the West Coast, right out there in Hollywood and Beverly Hills making these impacts. Many were in the Midwest making these impacts. The Unity Church is sitting right over there in Missouri, just outside of St. Louis, Missouri. They have a village, Unity Village. You can go there and study and learn and convert into it. Unity Church is another part of the New Thought movement. But all of this movement, because the word movement is not just physical movement, is moving the brain into a higher level of thinking so that the mind, the attributes of the mind, get higher. When everything can shift within ourselves, we can be much better with ourselves. We can treat ourselves better. We can love ourselves better. We can be kinder to ourselves. So, meditation is something that goes like this: it is the act of finding your center of being. And I've said numerous times, well, the question is, when you're using meditation and you're searching for your center of being, there's a blank space after the word being. Being what? What is it that you're striving to do? Well, here are some of the things that you're striving to accomplish through daily meditation: peace, harmony, being centered, being grounded, centered through the heart chakra, being grounded mentally in terms of being practical in your thinking, being grounded through the earth, through your feet, unconditional love, being more unconditional love, meaning no strings attached. When you say you love somebody, you respect who they are, and you're not doing it because you want to get loved in return. You just want to respect them as love, an expression of love. You could take it to a higher level of expression of divine love if you want. In terms of like Dr. Michael Beckwith, his church is the agape church. Why? Because it's a divine love. That's what they're preaching. That's what they're talking about. And he's using meditation to get people more centered and in a state of peace so that they can be open to receive the teachings of that day. And that doesn't mean that they have to accept them, just be open to see if those teachings fit their life in some way. Hello, Golden Timeline 711. So, the principles of thinking right, late Reverend Ike would say thinkonomics, of thinking right so that you could get the right things happening in your life. The same with meditation. Greg Braden says that, the ancient technologies, he calls them ancient technologies, meditation and prayer, because these are two things that never go away. Doesn't matter if you're living in Tibet, Mongolia, Malaysia, the Philippines, you're studying meditation on some level, you're utilizing meditation, some form of prayer on some level. It doesn't matter if you're in the Aleutian Islands, if you're in Hawaii, Oahu, all those places, right? Out there, the Pacific Islands, there's prayer and there's meditation. There are indigenous people all over the world, here in the USA and abroad, using prayer and meditation. Why? Because they know that those things harmonize for them and work. Holly Hammett, how you doing? They know these things bring harmony into their life. So it's essential. And you don't have to use someone else's prayer. You don't have to use the prayer of Saint Francis. I don't even have it memorized. You don't have to use a biblical prayer. You can create your own prayer, because that's the one that really counts, the one that comes from here. I remember Dr. Ayanla Van Zant says there she had three prayers, and her first prayer was help, and her second prayer was help me, and her third prayer was help me now. It's that simple, putting that call out through yourself into the universe. Help, help me now. Why? Because it's simplistic, but yet powerful. And the universe doesn't listen to a stream of words, it listens to a stream of a few words compacted with the energy. It hears the emotion that's embedded in each sound called a word. That's what it responds to. It responds to the greatest emotion. That's like when we expect it to rain, what comes before rain? There must be precipitation in the clouds. If there's no precipitation happening in the clouds, more than likely there's no rain. I'll say that again. If there's no precipitation happening in the clouds, in the sky, you will not experience rain. It'll just be sitting there. You'll get it as moisture, which they call what? Humidity. So much humidity in there, you just can't wait to pull it out and turn it into rain. But everything has a consciousness. Water has consciousness. If water has consciousness and our body has a lot of it in there, then whatever we are thinking about the most and placing the greatest emotions into, those words, those feelings affect the liquids inside the body. The blood cells are affected. The water in the body is affected. The heart is affected. The organs and other glands in the body are affected. Your nerve system is affected. Your skeletal structure is affected. Your muscles, your skin. The biggest organ in the body is the skin. So if you're not happy, it's going to show up on your face, not just through lines in the face or frowns in the face. It's going to show up through pimples, acne, you name it. It's going to show up on the body. And if you're not walking through areas that are clear or clean, and I've experienced this throughout my life, it's going to show up on your feet, on your skin. And sometimes there are people laying energies out, as we say, bad juju out on your path so that you pick that stuff up. But it can be shifted. Your whole environment can be shifted through the power of your mind, through the power of the emotions. The emotions are the fuel that goes in to the thought process. So there is a second part because this topic is use meditation and visualization. You have to see it internally. You have to visualize it. Some people call it picturization. You got to picture it clearly in your mind. So let's say you go and you're trying to seek a job. Your emotions got to go into the image of seeing you working, seeing you successfully working, seeing everybody successfully getting along with you, and vice versa. See everything going in the direction it needs to go in, and that you're happy and everybody connected to you is happy. You think of those Olympic athletes over there in Paris with all the ups and downs of things that were going on. There was one guy over there, and he was a U.S. track star, and this is what he said. People asked him, "Are you the fastest man in the world?" He says, "Yes." It says, "Well, there's other people have faster times than you." But his concept was he believes in himself that at any given moment, he's faster than everybody else. And when we think of it, 100 meters, we think meters are short. I had to look it up the other day. Do you know 100 meters is 109.671 yards? That's the length of going from the back of the end zone on a football field and running all the way down to almost the goal line at the other end. That's a long stretch of running. That's a long stretch of running. To have that much lung capacity to go push all that air through your body, to have that much strength in your muscles and much limbering in your joints, to be able to cause your body to run faster within less than 10 seconds. So that means people are running all of those yards, 100 yards. They're covering a yard a second. That's a lot. They're covering 100 yards in under anywhere from under 11 seconds or under 10 seconds. That takes a certain type of body, physical mechanics to do that. Football players run 40 yards. They time them over 40 yards. That's nothing compared to those athletes who are gaining speed as they go. Now, some shut it down within 5 yards of the goal line. Some continue to accelerate, so they accelerate through the finish line. Can you imagine in your mind that you are creating a visual effect of yourself outrunning everybody who's just as fast as you are, but because you are telling yourself you are faster, you are believing yourself that you are faster. The cells and the muscles believe your statement. The cells and the muscles say we are limber, we are stronger than the next person. And we respond to the command. It is the same when we are drawing an image in our mind. We're asking the cellular memory in our auric field to come together to create this image of greater value in our life. And we're seeing these images do what? Collect this information, collect these feelings, and reproduce them exactly in detail, the exact way we want a better life to be. And we want that life to have value. We want it to be worth something. When our life is worth something, that means your health is getting better because you're worthy, you deserve it. Your sight is getting better because you deserve it. Your skin is getting smoother because you deserve it. The air that you breathe, you're commanding the elements, you're commanding the pollutants to fall out or back off of you. You're commanding the foliage you see in the ground, the grass, the shrubs, the herbs, the plants, you name it, to what? Acclimate itself to your thought process and to your feelings, especially if you can address the plant with a name, especially when you can address the plant with love and kindness and compassion and understanding and forgiveness. Those living entities called plants can hear you. That means before they were plants, they were seedlings. Before they were seedlings, they were just seeds. So that means the seeds can hear you. The seeds are programmed with their particular DNA to create a particular plant, yet they hear your thoughts and feel your feelings. We are not separated from anything or anyone, but we do have to do what? We have to fight our way through the illusions in the world. People are creating conspiracies and illusions, so that becomes your reality. Amazing. Can you imagine remembering how people were psyching other people out, getting them to think a certain way so they could not respond a better way for themselves? When you don't see anything around you that's positive, you think that you can't create something that's positive, but you can. That's why this athlete, his name was Noah Lyles. That's why he jumps so high. He used to be a high jumper and a long jumper. But he says he does that if he can jump so his feet are a little higher than the other athlete's shoulders. He's doing nothing more than building confidence in himself. He makes himself not worry. Shakari Richardson, she says her coach makes her count 10 seconds in her mind to learn how to count it in her mind. From the time she takes off, how one, two, three, how she can count that rhythmically 10 seconds. And that's all she hears in her mind. That means when they run, they don't even hear the people in the stands. It's quiet up here. In here, all they do is see the end zone, the end line, and see themselves cross first. That's all they want to see. How to maintain a relaxed body so that they can what? Do that. Can you imagine running a race or running for your life and being able to run so fast that what's behind you will not catch you? Because all you see is, I'm going to get over that fence one way or the other. I'm going to run up the side of that hill. I'm going to come down the other side and I'm going to be safe. Or something is going to intercept what's going on behind me because I'm that hooked up to something higher. You can do that. Our goal in meditation is to find unconditional love, to become it, to become the degrees of understanding, infinite degrees of understanding, to become infinite degrees of kindness, and to be kind hearted, and to be beloved, and to love others unconditionally, no strings attached, to show a kindred expression that we can harmonize with others, get along with others, so that we can express divine grace, and compassion. Compassion is where you feel the mercy has to be put in for others. Compassion is when you feel sad for another. You understand that they're having a difficulty in what they're going through. You understand that their day has not been a good day because their evening wasn't a good day and their day before wasn't a good day. You found people had low self esteem. People say, well, how can you help me if you're not living better? You know what? People who don't appear to be living better are living better. How are they living better? Because their first assignment is to themselves, is their ability to love themselves. If you're not loving yourself, it's hard to love someone else. It's hard to let someone into your heart to love you, to show that they love you. But you have to take care of that yourself. That's why every mother would teach every son what? How to cook, how to clean house, how to wash your clothes, uh, how to make sure your clothes look right on you. Why? So that if you met somebody, a partner, the partner can see that you're well taken care of. You learn well and you express it well. You live it well. You can have a $3,000 suit on and a $20 pair of shoes, or vice versa. It doesn't matter what you have on, it's who you are. What is your character? So we use meditation and visualization to help create a higher value for ourselves so that we feel better about ourselves. When you do all the things that you need to do, and you know this, which is doing it for you, then you're going to be all right. You're going to be better because you're doing it for yourself. You're not doing it. I know some people, they would do things because they want their neighbors to look upon them and say, oh, they got a nice house. Oh, they got a nice yard. Oh, look at the decorations for Christmas. Oh, look at the decorations for Halloween. Oh, let people show off the house. Well, now many years have gone by, ain't nobody looking for the house. Why? Because they're hearing and feeling other things about the house or about the people on the property of the house. Or the people who used to come, maybe they moved away. Maybe their minds have shifted into something else. Usually that's the thing that happens. It's not that they don't want to see a house with a lot of pretty things on it. Is somewhere down the line, people are not that materialistic. So if they're not being that materialistic, then what's going on? They're more concerned about what's happening with their own life and how to make that life that they are living better for themselves. We have to seek how to be better for ourselves. We have to have sort of like horse blinders. Can't see out here, can't see out there, just straight ahead, looking at yourself and where you're going. But you're greatly aware of everything that you are passing or who's passing you by. But you remember the better qualities of yourself. You are seeking a better you. You know, today's calendar date is the 22nd. This is an 8 universal year. This is an 8 month. 8 plus 8 is 16, which is 7. And 7 plus 22 is 29, and 2 plus 9 is 11. So underneath this master number 22 day is an 11, foundation of the number 11. 11 is dreams and visions and understanding secrets and being able to break the codes of secrets. But the 22 is the ability to see the dream or the vision and then carry it out so it becomes crystal clear that it will materialize in a way that can be seen properly, that can be lived properly. So, and then check this out, 11 plus 22 is 33. So the ability during this 11 universal day on a 22 master number is the ability to teach yourself, which is the 33, teach yourself have how to have the Buddhic and Christ consciousness, to teach yourself how to raise yourself up higher. Why? Because you're worth it. You're a valuable being, a valuable person, a valuable man, a valuable woman. Whether you're younger or older, a senior or a child, you have value. And that value at some point has to what? You have to be like a glass where the value, new value is being poured in and it rises to the top, what? And then it overflows. You got to have an increase that is overflowing in your life. And you're it. The universe is tagging you to making you create the overflow by simplicity. It's not, you don't need 1,000 pieces of something to create an overflow. You just need a few pieces to raise things up so that you are doing better and that you are feeling better. So you got to be able to visualize what it is that you want. To see by creating images with feelings of living and being successful in your life, being healthier and even becoming ageless. That word ageless. Dr. Deepak Chopra talked about that, I guess about 10, 15 years ago. Ageless, timeless, timeless era of time. In other words, don't be overwhelmed by time. You're not ruled by man-made time. Therefore, taking the pressure off yourself to become ageless or to mean youthful again. To have enough vigor and vibe in yourself that you feel better, look better, eat better, talk better, do better, sleep better, get along with others better. But first, getting along with yourself. That's all important. Are there any comments anybody would like to make about what I'm saying? We have to decide what is valuable to ourselves. That's important. I'm going to put a couple of hundreds in here, a couple of hearts in here. And I need to put this title in here. Does anybody have a comment? I know sometimes I talk too fast. Yes, healing the inner child. Doing that part of us that didn't get a chance to heal. That inner child is still in effect. That inner child needs a lot of attention because that's the part of us that is crying deeply inside. That inner being wants to love. And if the inner being is not getting the love, it's very hard to feel love. So it's important that we love ourselves first. If we're not loving ourselves, then it's very hard to receive love, right? If we can't love ourselves, it's like when someone gives a good comment. We had many of us, especially those of us born in the 50s, were always trained not to accept a compliment. To say, oh, it's nothing. But when we can accept a compliment and it's good, you know it's good, what? It's feeling loved. Linda Garcia says, learning to forgive yourself. It's correct. because you don't need see the person that where you had a problem with. People say, well, you got to forgive that person. No, you got to forgive you, because we're hard on ourselves when we wind up in bad situations with quote unquote bad people. That person is not going to listen to your statement of forgiveness, but you can hear your statement of forgiveness. You can go right in the mirror and look at yourself and say, I forgive you for putting me, in harm's way. I have a spiritual daughter that lives in Houston, Texas, or Dallas, Texas. And she talks about it every day how children are hard to reach. Children come into school angry. Children come into school terrorizing other children. Why? Because at home, they're witnessing someone terrorizing others. They're witnessing, more than likely, the mother being terrorized by a boyfriend or a father figure. And that child is witnessing that all day long, especially over the weekend. That's all they see, that's all they hear. So when they come to school, they're ready to take out all that anger on their fellow classmate, all of that verbal abuse and physical abuse, because they witness it when they're home before they come to school. And when the summer arrives, they're seeing it 24 hours a day. And she said, my spiritual daughter said, she finally met the mother. And the mother had this real serious nervous twitch going on with her eyes. And she could tell that that woman is an abused woman. But she didn't have any physical bruises. But she could tell that that woman is an abused woman. She spoke and she stuttered and she didn't get her words out too clearly. And if she did, they had somewhat of an angry tone to them. Because the mother is trying to survive in that particular jungle at home. And then the son is a part of the element. He's being victimized as well. But to see these things and hear these things is truly sad. And if you have outlived one of those situations, no jail, no nothing, just able to somehow save yourself and outlive it, then it's trying to find help for yourself. Not many can find help. Difficult. So I just use that as an example. It would be hard for that mother to visualize seeing herself have a better life because she's in the middle of a war and she has no support. But if you were in the middle of something like that and you could get some support, outside help, inside help, then you can get away from something like that. Then one day she could get to the level of meditation and prayer where it could work for her, where she could see a better life, pray for a better life, and begin to attract a better life. So we don't have to wait to get to such dire situations. Yes, Melanie, you have to have support. Because if you can have support, the support within itself will attract more favorable support. And then your team gets stronger. And then they get you stronger. Then you're thinking clear. Then you can move out of it. Forgive yourself. Now, I'm saying this, but I want to let you know I had to learn how to forgive myself out of various situations with various personalities. And I tell you, I had a 20-year stretch of it. And mine started as a child with my late father, with his dysfunctionalism of alcoholism. Then I got to high school and everybody experienced the bullies. But I always knew in the back of my mind that I was going to outlive the bullies. And I have. All my bullies, sad to say, they're in the light. Their bodies are 6 feet under. Because some of it, I saw it going in that direction. And I would say to myself, please don't let it happen while I'm in high school with them. Please don't have me in the same college or university with them. Please don't let me experience them during the summer. And 9 times out of 10, eventually I didn't see them during the summertime. I didn't see them during the spring breaks. Because I was smart. I said, I'm going to stay on campus. I don't have to deal with it. I can stay on campus. But I had to deal with the bullies there, the wealthy bullies. But I had to work on myself. And once I was able to work on myself, I was able to change that scenario around. Yes. But they're not, you don't see that in them unless you can get close enough. But one of my bullies one time, just after I got out of college, one of my bullies, I saw him one day. He was driving taxi. And he explained he was a bully from grade school and high school, one of many. And he broke it down to me. He said he was jealous. Now, this of me and anybody else he was picking on. Now, this young man was a brainiac. He was the very high up in the state of math. He was in that 10% in the state of New York that was bright. He was scored as number 4 or 5 out of 10, the top 10 in the state. The guy that was number 1 in the state was in our school, in grade school as well. But those people had issues. Their fathers were pressuring them. Their fathers were bullying them if they weren't getting those top grades. So they were frightened into that. They hung out late at night. They got drunk and high, you name it. But they had to come home and deal with the monster in the house, the father. So this young man, he told me that. I asked him, "Were you getting any help?" And he said no. And we talked for hours one day until I could remember someone who was a counselor and told him to call that person. And then I saw him a few years later, and he was getting the help, but then he had a fall. And he wound up transitioning because he fell back into having a cocaine habit. He couldn't kick the pain. But he did say he was insecure. He was so angry he didn't want anybody to see his weakness. And that's sad because it's difficult to overcome. Very difficult to overcome. You got to have a support team to help you overcome, or you will fall back worse than the abuser. You have to eventually get away from the abuser. I eventually got away from my bullies. But there was something in me that I loved me, and that's where the metaphysical and spiritual got stronger. And it became so strong within myself that when I would see them, I knew days in advance when I would see them. And I knew how they would be and how they would approach me. But I was always stronger, not physically. I was stronger emotionally and mentally and spiritually. I learned how to put that chi out so strong, taking Tai Chi, not a physical fighter, not any of that, but learning how to gather that chi out and put it out there. To the point that the guys would just stand across the street looking at me. And then I could tell through my heart they couldn't attack me, they couldn't do anything because They had a lot of their own fear, their own baggages going on. And once I got that down pat, I could walk anywhere, be anywhere. And I always attracted people that were supportive of me. There was guys that wanted to be bodyguards for me. And I was saying, I don't need a bodyguard. It's you do, but you need bodyguard. And I could be your bodyguard because I know how those people are. I said, well, you can be my bodyguard, but you can't touch nobody. And they used to hate that. Why not? I said, because you're full of anger too. You wind up killing somebody in my name. No, can't have that. So I used to work with those guys that wanted to be protective over me physically and got them into meditation. And eventually, many years later, they began to chill out. Meditation and visualization can change the whole terrain in your life. You can use meditation and visualization to go back in time where you are talking to the sacred child, the inner child, and changing the script so that you respond differently. You can begin to have dreams and respond differently because the dream is showing you a better outcome. Why? Because you're envisioning it, you're creating it in your mind, with your mind, in your brain, so that there's an instantaneous change, a chain reaction where your life just improves. And that began to happen in different ways for me. So much that I said, when my mother told me I wasn't even supposed to be living on Long Island, I started putting it out into the ethers. There's a better place for me. Like the ancestors, you say that heaven's a better place for me. I said, no, getting off of Long Island would be better for me. But once I land in New Jersey, I'm going to not let any grass grow beneath my feet. I'm going to keep the thought going that I'm supposed to be here in the state of New Mexico. And I was going to get here one way or the other. I was expecting myself to get here, and things developed so I can get here. And I've had difficulties here with bullies. But by that time, I changed the whole scenario in the way that I thought about it. And I realized those who were here trying to bully me using occult magic, they had their own weakness because that which they called upon, I could see. That which they told to attack me, I could talk to it and get that thing to turn itself around and leave. And when those people here realized that I had that ability, they stopped. I haven't seen those people, men and women, in years. And I've been out here 13 years come November. I haven't seen them in the past 4 years, 5 years. We have to make ourselves stronger. You have to love the inner child, correct the inner child, heal the inner child, make it stronger. Then your inner child grows up inside of you and becomes the adult you, and now is free, living because it has value. You have given yourself value. The more value you can give yourself, the more value you can give your life, the more value you can give your skills and talents and gifts, the greater you shall be for you. You're not doing it to be better than someone else. You're doing it to be better than who you were yesterday, who you were a month ago, who you were 3 months ago, who you were a year ago. You should be different. When people see you, they should say, "My, you look different." Well, you do. You're not the I'm not the same old brother Francis that they knew 10 years ago, 3 years ago, just a year ago. Every year I change. I change how though? I go deeper inside here and deeper inside here and get to embrace the new me here, which then grows up into here. Now I radiate the antennas that I'm a better person, greater for myself than I was before, happier for myself now than I was before. It's about shifting gears, changing your reality. You can jump from one timeline to another because at another timeline, you're doing better. And all you want to do is see how you're doing better and bring those concepts and techniques and methods and love into this world so that you can balance all of them out. That's what we're seeking to do, create a better life, a more harmonic peace for ourselves, a kinder day, weightless, huh? No burdens, no debts upon our mind, no debts upon our heart. And there's all kind of debts, not just financial debts. So the more we love ourselves, the better we shall be. Why? Because love gives value. That means we are important to ourselves. That means you are living for you first. Then can live for someone else. But you will show others how to live for themselves. That's what you have to do. So before I wear my voice out, I forgot to bring some water here. For those of you that live here, many of you are back east, of course. For those of you that live here, there's going to be other people watching this on demand later, who are my meditation students here. Usually every Saturday, I'm at 2703 Broadbent Parkway, Northeast, Suite J, 87107. That's a zip code here in Albuquerque, this particular section. Teaching my creative pathwork meditations at 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Now, I usually do that every Saturday for just $10. Now, I can't do it online because we don't have anything set up, so I can put a camera in the room and then everybody can see the group as well as the group see everybody else that's tuning in. We haven't been able to do that. It's a brand new location now. However, those of you know that I teach on the first Sunday afternoon for a fee. I can't pronounce it here because this is not my particular channel. But if you can email me at iam.circleofgrace1 at gmail.com, you can get to find out what I'm doing online on the first Sunday and you can participate. That's why I'm doing creative pathwork meditations every first Thursday of the month from what is it 6 p.m. Mountain, which is 8 p.m. Eastern. I have a specialized workshop. Well, those of you who have been around me for at least a year or two, you can get it for $50 off, something like that. uh, Email me and I'll show you what those dates are coming up starting October, I think it's October the 5th is a Thursday. So what I'm doing for October, November, and December, these new Thursday, first Thursday evening um, discussions and topics and lessons. Then on the fourth Sunday, it's a free planetary healing group that kicks off at 5 p.m. Mountain Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. That's online. So those 3 dates that I'm marking, they're online. I'm in the middle, half getting this next Wednesday will be the halfway point for my 13-week Radiant Heart course. But I'm going to start it again. So there's people that didn't get a chance to take numerology. Numerology will happen starting in February of 2025, and it'll be 13-week numerology course online with me. The key to life is numerology. This will be my third year teaching it in starting in February. I don't teach it twice a year. This is a lot of work. And I won't have a voice. I like to teach at least 4 online courses during the year. So starting on the very first Tuesday night in March 2025, Radiant Heart 13-week course will be taught again online. So I'm letting you all know that now. I have 2 people on here that will be jumping into that circuit and for a good deal. So That will be happening once radiant heart and numerology are over. Maybe I might just teach some other workshops every other Wednesday and every other Tuesday after those 13 weeks are completed. So, if you have any comments, questions, I want to thank everybody who got here. Melanie Hall beat everybody into the circuit live today. Melanie lives in Australia, so she was happy to be here with us live. I want to thank also Jackie Fillmore, Antoine, Linda Garcia, Golden Timeline 711, Holly Hemmett. I want to thank him as well for being here, as well as Indigo Moon. Thank you for joining me today. Uh, I will be here next Thursday. This particular podcast marked, I think, 178. I've been 2.5 years. I've been podcasting every Thursday. Yes, and one of the splendid things here is I'm gonna have to read it off the website. So excuse me for a second. I gotta bring up another tab. This was also, if you were out here, we have three grandmothers who are a part of the circle of grandmothers, the circle of 13 grandmothers, I believe. And these three grandmothers are teaching Mayan and Maori shamanism in the sense of this Saturday. They're going to be at our center from 7:30 in the morning to 6:30 p.m. So they're going to need to use the entire place. The place where I usually have meditation, they're going to have to put an altar in there. So they're teaching soul renewal, journeying through ancestral trauma. And so that had a price. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it online, but if you want to find out where, I think in their calendars where they will be, you need to go to their website, which is www.givebutter.com. Give, Give, butter, butter.com, and then /soul renewal. Now, if you go there, you'll see their images, and I think you'll see some website address. That is their website, but that's the page that's offering this out here in Albuquerque. But if you go on there and you connect with the three women on there, you will be able to find out where else in the world they could be traveling. Who knows? They could be coming into this. They're here in the Southwest, but they might be going into the Southeast or East or Northeast. I don't know what their schedule is, but the three of them are traveling around the USA teaching this. So you can go on their website and you can figure it out through their calendar. You can probably email them, find out when they're doing these things in the United States of America. Okay, that's good to know. Also on Monday, uh, September 26th, they're going to do some individual healing sessions with one of the grandmothers. I'm not sure which one it will be, but they'll be doing that out here. On Saturday, September the 7th at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, there are two women who are doing a high vibrational wellness book signing. I'm going to be there because they're going to talk about the consciousness and the intentions that are in the right foods for us to eat to create better wellness for the physical body. So, if you're a part of Resident Essentials, the group, if you're a part of it, you can go in there. If you want more information about this high vibrational wellness and the two women, I could send you the link and may show you how to go about getting the book. They were doing this as a donation for $40, which was getting the book and being a part of the event that day. So I'll be there. I'll have a whole day to be there because I'm teaching on Saturday, September the 7th through all the Saturdays. But this Saturday, I have a day off. I'm going to stay home and do some things, maybe some artwork, maybe act like a bachelor and reorganize my apartment. All right, so that's what's going on. Usually on Fridays, here also, one of our students by the name of Lori Foster, she does a drumming circle for about $10 on a Friday night. So she's here. So we have a lot of things, and I'm excited that we're in this new location because now this place is active. Lots of classes going on, and Michelle is like a pea in a pod. She's happy, because there's a lot of events happening here, and this is what she's always wanted a place to be, bouncing with a lot of activity, and now she has it. So I'm going to sign off. I'm going to drink some tea or something, or have a daytime coffee. Thank you all for joining me. Again, thank you, Jackie Fillmore, Antoine. Golden Timeline 711. Melanie Hall, thank you. Uh, who else? Indigo Blue. Nope, Indigo Moon. Sorry. There's a lot of people using Indigo around me too. Indigo Blue, Indigo Moon. So Indigo Moon, I know exactly who you are. Amen, sister. Thank you for being on here and being supportive. My next door neighbor down the road, Linda Garcia, thank you so much for joining me today. We had a blast. Holly Hemmett, thank you so much for being on here today. Holly makes me laugh. He brings the joy. I met him on through Lloyd Strayhorn's audience when I was on there uh, in March. Yeah, on March when I came out with the Radiant Heart book. And so he and I chit chat all the time. Thank you all. Have a great weekend. Enjoy yourselves. And also, let's send some positive light to the city of Chicago. Because something very dastardly happened there that should not have taken place, but somehow people got in there and striving to make some people sick off of food. Really sad that people think this way. So let's send light and healing and shielding to the people who were the victims of eating this food, didn't know this stuff was in there. So I'm not going to talk about it anymore. You can go online, look it up. Is at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. Something very, very bad took place. But people are alive and walking around. It's just that something was done that should not have been done. So let's send them love, unconditionally, light, kindness, grace, and whatever else they need, compassion. And I'm going to send some forgiveness to those people who thought that that should be cute to do at such an event. And I'm going to send more light to our next president to be, because she needs to be in that position to help guide us back. Because it's time for matriarchal dominion. All right, everybody. Take care of yourselves. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you hopefully next Thursday, which will be the 29th of August. That's the late birthday of Michael Jackson. All right. I got some cousins born on that day. Anyway, I'm going to sign off. Too much talking now. Take care of yourselves. See you real soon.